Hi, everybody. I'm here today with Nicole Garafano, the head of circular economy development at Planet Arc. Hi, Nicole. It's great to see you.
Hi, Kiarne. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited. I want to talk to you about the training workshops that you are bringing to Australia. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. You are bringing for the very first time ever the CIRCO methodology circularity training. I'm probably not getting this right, but it comes from Click NL, which is in the Netherlands, and Netherlands is arguably leading the charge when it comes to circularity. And they've got this methodology that is amazing. And you have been charged to bring it to Australia. Is that correct?
That is pretty much it in a nutshell, Kiarne. We are super excited to be able to bring this methodology. The Dutch, as you said, have been leading in circular economy transition activity for more than 10 years. And it is fantastic to be able to learn from all of the experience that's gone before, because we know that CIRCO has been in play for 10 years. They've actually been delivering it in the Netherlands. But it's exciting because it's now going global. It's in 18 other countries, and now it's coming to Australia. And so we are going to be at the leading edge to be able to perhaps leapfrog some of the opportunities to transition to circular economy here.
So tell me, what does it actually? What are you actually doing? What is the Circo methodology all about?
So CIRCO is very much focused on the design element of putting products onto market. So the methodology is useful for any company that puts products onto a market. So that could be a manufacturer, but it could also be an engineering company or a developer or a textiles design company. So anybody that puts products onto market is who the methodology is designed for. Design, as we know, if we get design right in circular economy, we can actually limit up to 80% of environmental impacts. So 80% of a product's environmental impact is determined in the design phase.
Wow. I mean, it
So
makes
if
sense when you think about it, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. So this course is really focused on the design phase of what products go onto a market. And a product could be, as I say, a piece of clothing, a building, a piece of packaging, technology, any product that you can think of has a design part to it
So
in order for it to come to market.
So let's talk about packaging, because packaging seems to be, I think, from the people that we're talking to, that seems to be high on the agenda because consumers and people in general, that's the first interaction that you have. A lot of people really notice it
Yeah,
because it's the first thing that the decision of which bin to put something in is so tangible and it's so real.
yeah.
And we have a lot of people still asking us for help when it comes to packaging. So would you say if there are businesses, business leaders, sustainability managers who are working on trying to resolve packaging issues, that this course would be helpful?
This would be ideal. And it's not just for the packaging companies themselves. There's also an opportunity to look at who sits in that value chain for packaging. Because the designers, of course, brand owners often have designers on their own teams, but there are also independent designers. And it's about asking, what product is going in the packaging? How can we have a different relationship with customers in the way that we design that overall product from a systems lens? So definitely packaging is one sector that would benefit from undertaking CIRCO training.
That's interesting because I think a lot of people think about raw materials a lot, like how
Yeah,
they source it, where they source it from, responsibly sourced or recycled or organic, and which is great, of course, it's a big
yeah,
part of it. But it's about replacing an existing product exactly as it is with a better sourced material often. And so this course would be more about rethinking the actual design and construction from the ground up in a way that potentially uses less resources or changes the way that you achieve the function that your product does, right? So it's a
yes,
much more robust thought
yeah,
process.
very much so. And the methodology, as I say, has been in place for 10 years, and there's lots of great experience both from the trainers and the participating companies to see how these changes can benefit. Of the companies, the 3,000 plus companies that have been through that have used the methodology, been trained in the methodology, 70% are shown to implement what they learn in the methodology back in their own organization, so they can see the benefit.
That's a really big number. Like, I know it's so hard a lot of the time to, you know, to learn things and then actually implement it. But I guess while they're in the course, people that are doing the course, are they actually bringing I guess, problem to solve with them? Yeah, that's probably got a lot to do with it, right?
Yeah. So each participating organization comes with a product that is ripe for redesign. And at the end of the 3-day workshop, they actually walk away with a pitch for that new product design to take back to their organization and potentially to their value chain if that's the conversation that needs to be had. So it is a very practical, applied methodology. It's not just something that you learn, you put it back on the shelf for, you know, whenever. It's actually taking a product that's in your range and looking at how can it be redesigned. So it's very, very tangible.
So the cool thing is you do it in pairs. You bring somebody that you work with. And I mean, the people I'm thinking about here is the sustainability managers. There's a lot of people who have come into these sustainability roles that often they've been moved from another role in the same organization into the sustainability role. Sometimes it's people who are like, you know, saying, hey, what are we doing about the recycling bins? And then the CEO says, why don't you take on sustainability? So there's a lot of people doing this work that don't necessarily have background skills and training. And there's a lot of people that there wasn't any training or there wasn't any education or university programs when they were going through that part of their life. So this is a really valuable thing, I think, for sustainability managers. But you said it's a lot about design, right? So product designers, packaging designers, graphic designers, people like that.
Engineers, architects.
Right. Engineers. Yeah, I guess it's anybody would benefit from this, really, right? Even people, I feel like people in marketing roles as well, because they have to take it to market, right? They have to be able to sit in there and tell the sustainability person, well, hang on, sure, but that won't sell. So, you know, there's that bit of sort of give and take on that, isn't there?
Yeah. And I think that's a really important question, because who comes? If you're sending 2 people from your organization, who are the best people to be in the room to walk through that? And there's a couple of ways to look at that. One is, yes, a sustainability person who is, you know, pushing to get the principles incorporated into the organization. But there's also that business development, R&D, design person, yes. But another important stakeholder, another important representative is that sales and marketing person, the person who knows the stakeholders that the products are being sold to and can then be brought along on the journey to have all of those answers to the questions that their customers might be coming up with. They'll be in the room, they'll understand what is the sale of this new way that we're delivering this product, because in many cases, particularly in this country, we do have some catching up to do on circular economy transition. So it's a relatively new thing for some of the product lines, and so how do you develop that story to sell it to market? So that's the sales role is really important.
I actually think you actually really need that product marketing manager or salesperson or somebody who understands what's going on out there. Who can push back and be able to, because all you're going to do is you're going to, walk back in and say, hey, I've got this revolutionary idea, and say, oh, that won't sell. And then you can't do it. So actually having that sort of tussle in the room is probably really beneficial. You probably learn. And also people need to come on these journeys. One of the things I'm finding right now is that people in sustainability roles, some of the language that they use is, isolated. A bit lonely is a word that comes up all the time, because people are sort of feeling as if they're sort of, this is a job of on its own sitting over here. It's actually, this is not a single person's job. It is physically impossible to be the person responsible for the 20 different sciences that are required, from your corporate social responsibility to your energy consumption to your raw materials. Like, it's impossible for one person to do all of this alone.
Yeah.
But it's training programs, like really practical training programs like this, that help, because then that you're also teaching them how to take it to the business, which I think is a really interesting part of this, isn't it? Like, just how do you talk to people? How do you influence inside the business?
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we would like, those of us sitting in the sustainability, circular economy space, would like everybody just to do things because it's the right thing to do. And we know that the planet, the way that we are extracting and consuming resources is completely unsustainable. But the reality is it comes down to the economics, and it comes down to how can we be more efficient in the way that we are designing and producing these products. And the ability to be resource efficient in your design of products and across your value chain is another really important piece that's introduced in this program, because circular economy is about resource optimization. And so how can we do that in a way that we're making the best use of the resources that we do currently use, the energy, water, waste, but designing products to reduce the amount of waste that's actually produced in production, is something that we need to consider, which is a cost to the business. So if we can do that better, well, there's an easy cost win there. So yes, it is about design, because we know materials are important, but it's actually optimizing the resources that are available in the organization, from resources as in energy, water, waste, but also people, and also engaging with customers differently. I mean, there are examples coming out of Europe where we see much longer customer relationships developed because the product has been redesigned, and I think that's an important consideration when you're looking at how to retain customers in this very volatile market that we're in.
It's funny that, because people often talk about sustainable transformations being a costly thing. I think we need to start talking about this as an investment. It's not an expense. It's an investment in the future of your brand and your business. And like you said, it's a bit of a no-brainer when you think about it. If you're talking about optimizing and reducing waste, you're reducing stuff. You're reducing the materials that you might need to purchase. You're reducing the energy that might be required to do things. So it's possible that you could come out of this with the exact same product, right? But maybe the process that you went through is actually how you produce the product, and it's got nothing to do with changing the product itself. Is that a possibility?
It could be. It could be. It's really because it is looked at as a system. The design could be the same product but delivered a different way. For example, there's a methodology or a business model that's called product as a service, and traditionally this is similar to like a leasing model. Councils, for example, or large organizations don't tend to buy their vehicles. They tend to lease them, and the leases are for 3 years perhaps. And after that time, the vehicles go back, and there's no regard for the vehicle. They're just used and used and used during that time, because at the end of the day, who cares? We're going to give it back to the leasing company. But what we do when we look at it from a circular economy perspective is the product itself from the very outset is designed for a longer relationship with that client. So instead of being able to have confidence that you'll provide a 3-year lease, you can provide maybe a 5-year lease. Have that longer relationship, provide a higher variety of maintenance and repair, which you'll also be getting funding money for in the process. Obviously, that's a financial exchange. And you'll be able to design, because the product has been designed in the way it has, you can disassemble those products at end of life with a much higher value for those individual parts coming out than what you would have done if you just designed it just to put stuff onto a market.
Right. Yeah, because I'm just thinking a lot of people are probably sitting there thinking, oh, we've taken this product as far as we can.
Yeah.
But that that's not necessarily the case. There's so
Not
many things
necessarily.
outside of the physical product itself,
Yeah.
before and after, right through the supply chain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the people I think that are going to benefit from this, firstly, the ones who are sitting in these businesses who are drowning and trying to resolve problems that live within the business, and they've not done this before, or they haven't had any formal training and they don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's people that don't know where to start, I mean, I hear that every single day. Don't know where to start. Okay, so start here. This is the place
Yeah.
to start.
Yeah.
And it's going to be beneficial for physical product, for packaging, for parts, for manufacturing. So we've got I imagine that there's emissions are considered in this process as well. Okay, so we've got mandatory climate disclosures coming up. We've got APCO reporting changing. We've got customers absolutely changing the way that they feel about their relationships with brands. This is essential. This shouldn't be optional training. This is essential for somebody who's responsible for a product, isn't it?
I would say yes. I mean, this we're at a critical juncture. ESG reporting is becoming very much common knowledge, and it's not just coupled with, so ESG reporting is becoming common knowledge, but coupled with the oversight of the ACCC, greenwashing, you need to be able to have confidence that you're standing behind what you're saying for your product lines, and this is where you can start to rethink those products to really align with your objectives around your reporting.
So something that I say a lot is, if you don't know where the facts came from, then they're not facts. And I say that to people like the marketing managers, the graphic designers who create the labels that say 100% eco-friendly. I actually put a lot of weight on graphic designers. I think that they have a massive responsibility and they require training and education in this space. I think that they are the ones who are actually doing the greenwashing most of the time, unfortunately, because they're putting something too big on the page, or they're using the wrong colors. That there's lots of things. And so, but they obviously don't get to make any of the choices about what it's going to say. Somebody else is telling them. So people are struggling at work to talk. They don't necessarily know how to talk the talk. They don't know what some of the words mean. They don't know where the facts came from sometimes. This is where we send the people who are making the claims today that they inherited from the person that worked there before them, and say, okay, now this is where you go and get your facts from. And I think it's going to give an awful lot of confidence. I think there's a lot of people out there who are nervous because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So gaining confidence to go back to work and say, okay, guys, I've learned a lot. I get it now. It's kind of like doing a mini degree, right? Because it's the whole sort of supply chain, all different moving parts.
Yeah. I mean, it is a program of works that, as you say, definitely helps to build confidence. And the other thing is, it doesn't have to be for all of your products. I mean, if you look at some companies that producing hundreds of thousands of SKUs across their product line, it'd be great to do them all over time. But the beauty of it is, start with one and work through that. Build your confidence in redesigning and rethinking that product and that delivery. And then you can, start to try it out on others, which has been seen in what we've learned from our overseas partners from the Netherlands. Many companies that have gone through the CIRCO training the first time have actually come back and said, we actually want to do one for our organization because we've got other products that we want to be working through. So you got to start somewhere, as that saying goes. Start with one step, and that's what the CIRCO training can offer in real time.
Do you know what, though? I've seen like those big organizations that have got thousands of SKUs. If you're putting a product through and you change something on the production line that you do on 1,000 different SKUs, that can be revolutionary for a business, especially if it's cost cutting. If you're cost cutting in like the way you make that one tin, but you've got 1,000 different SKUs with tins, then you'll say you could apply that immediately and really, really reduce your costs, reduce your emissions, reduce your waste.
Yeah.
When you get out there, start talking about it to your customers, having some confidence that you are factual in what you're saying, I think is a big one.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the other point is from an investment perspective that increasingly large investors are investing in companies that can support their own objectives when it comes to ESG targets. So as an investor, superannuation fund or large, commercial institution are becoming more and more influenced by their loan partners. If you're lending money to a company that can't prove their ESG objectives or their ESG reporting, then you're less likely to be attractive to a large lender that has that as a requirement. You might get money, but you might not get the same level of interest rate reduction, perhaps. You might have different conditions applied. So if you're looking at investment, going through a course like this also helps provide that confidence of how you can start developing perhaps new product lines that might be worthy of new investments. And you'll be able to prove it because you've gone through the process. So from an investment lens, it's another important opportunity to look at.
Geez, there's a lot of good reasons to do this. So tell me, who's eligible? Where do you start? I know you've got a lot of people banging down the doors, but we just need to be very clear. It's starting in Melbourne.
Starting in Melbourne.
And you need to be in person, and you need to be working either in Victoria or on a Victorian project. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We are being supported by the Circular Innovation Fund through Sustainability Victoria to launch CIRCO in Australia. So we are very much looking to support Victorian-based organisations in this first rounds of training.
Okay, well, fair enough. Well, thanks, Sustainability Victoria. Appreciate that.
Indeed.
This is critical. We do need government funding to do these types of programs because getting this off the ground in Australia, this is revolutionary for us to have this here now. So this is amazing to be able to do that. And it is, the resources that can come to us from government funding or from businesses actually investing in this themselves, which they should be. It's an investment in the future. It's an investment in your customer trust. Everybody says we're not sure. So here are the things I hear every day. We're not ready yet. Okay. So go get ready. This will help you get ready. We don't know where to start. This is where you start. We're afraid of greenwashing. Well, you won't be if you understand what you're talking about and you're not lying anymore or making things up or using the wrong words. It really is. I mean, just about anybody in an organization, even managing directors, leaders of businesses would be able to learn so much in this, wouldn't they?
Yep, definitely. And I think that's another point to make is that if you want to be a leader in this space and having that leadership from the top participate would be a fantastic way to ensure that the message is being adopted across the organization. So absolutely, senior leaders are more than welcome.
So it's we're recording this on the 16th of August. There are still some spots available in the first few rounds of the workshop, and we will put a link in that. But it is possible that those positions are sold out if you're seeing this later on, but that's okay. There will be more courses coming, and we expect to see more around Australia. Is that right?
That's right. Yep, definitely. So we've got a very strong focus on getting this launched in Victoria. So our first run out is the 3rd to the 5th of September. So we welcome anyone that is very keen to get some of those last spots on that training. But we will be launching across the country from maybe later this year, but definitely from when we all get back after Christmas holidays. So look out for more.
Well, I, for one, would want to be one of the first. So if there are still spots available, if you're watching this when there's still spots available, highly recommend going on the 3rd of September. That is when you've got the trainers coming from the Netherlands. The OG trainers are coming.
Indeed.
That's why I'm trying to clear my diary for it, because I want to meet the OG trainers myself. Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you. Firstly, for all of the work that you do at Planet Arc in general. Thank you for that. thank you for working. I know how hard you and the team are working on bringing this program and how important this work is.
Yeah.
And I think that we'll be better off for it. So cheers to you for all of the great work that you do.
Thank you. And thanks for your support, Kiarne. We so appreciate it. Look forward
Cheers.
to meeting some of your members.
See ya.
Bye.